Hello and welcome to another interesting English language class. My name is Precious Balogun. Our theme for today is vocabulary development, and our topic is vocabulary associated with animal husbandry. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain the meaning of animal husbandry, identify words related to animal husbandry, differentiate between poultry and dairy farming, and lastly, identify words associated with dairy farming. Every day we have several opportunities of learning new words and adding to our vocabulary, either by reading books or listening to speeches or conversations. Remember that vocabulary is a set of words used in a particular profession, occupation, or context. Now, today our focus will be on the vocabulary associated with animal husbandry. First, let's define animal husbandry. Animal husbandry is an aspect of agriculture that deals with the rearing of farm animals. Other names of animal husbandry are ranching, animal culture, animal rearing, livestock farming, animal raising, stock raising, and pasturage. Now, let's look at some words associated with animal husbandry. First, we have animal breeding. Animal breeding is a process of selective mating of animals with desirable features in order to enhance offspring. Next, we have abattoir. It is a slaughterhouse where animals are killed. This is a typical example of an abattoir. Next, we have apiculture. This is a method of rearing honey bees for the production of honey and wax. And the name is derived from the Latin word apix, meaning bee. Moving on, we have aviculture. This is a rearing of birds. Also, we have animal produce. Animal produce are materials gotten from the body of animals. For example, we get fat, flesh, blood, milk, eggs, and so on from animals. Next, we have battery cage. Battery cage is a housing system that is used in the production of animals, and it is mostly used in the rearing of chickens. This is an example of a battery cage. Also, we have the word breed. This is a specific group of animals that have the same appearance, behavior, and other characteristics that differentiate them from other organisms of the same species. Next, we have breeding. This is the coupling or mating of animals to reproduce offspring. Also, we have the word cattle. Cattle are large domestic animals with horns and hoofs. They are reared for meat and milk. They include cows, bulls, oxen, and cows. Next, we have dairying. This is a branch of agriculture that deals with the breeding and use of dairy animals like cows for production, storing, and distribution of milk and other dairying products processed from it. Next, we have domestication. This is a process of taming an animal and keeping it as a pet or on a farm. Moving on, we have the word farm. A farm is an area of land used for agricultural purposes. Going on, we have farm animals. These are domestic or wild animals on the farm, kept for agricultural purposes. Such animals include goats, sheep, cattle, oxen, horses, pigs, chickens, and so on. We also have the word fowls. A fowl is a domesticated bird kept for its eggs and flesh. Next, we have herd. This is a group of animals of the same species. Moving on, we have husbandry. Husbandry is a cultivation and breeding of crops and animals. Moving on, we have livestock. These are domestic animals raised in a farm for the production of milk, meat, wool, leather, fur, and so on. Some of these animals are used to aid farm labor, such as oxen, horses, and bulls. Sometimes the farmer uses these animals to plow the land. Next, we have poultry farming. This is the rearing of domestic birds, mainly for meat and eggs. These birds include chickens, turkeys, and so on. Also, we have the word pigsty, also known as sty. It is an outdoor enclosure for rearing domestic pigs as livestock. Next, we have rearing. Rearing is a process of raising and breeding a plant or animal. Also, we have pasturage. This is a process of putting animals like cattle, sheep, and other grazing animals to graze in a pasture. That means to eat or feed on a land. Having looked at some words associated with animal husbandry, now let's look at the difference between poultry and dairy farming. The difference between poultry farming and dairy farming is that the animals that are reared for poultry are birds, while that of dairy farming are sheep, oxen, goats, and so on. Also, what is produced in a poultry farm is meat and eggs, while that of a dairy farm we have cheese, butter, milk, meat, and so on. Now let's go on to see words associated with dairy farming. These are some words associated with dairy farming. We have dairy farm. This is a farm where dairy products are produced. Next, we have dairy products. It is food produced from animals such as cattle, goats, sheep. And these products include milk, cheese, and butter. Next, we have dairy cattle. These are cattle reared for milk. Next, we have bovine. These are various members of the genus Bos family, which classify wild and domestic cattle, such as cows, water buffaloes, oxen, bubalos, and so on. Here we have the word milk. Milk is a nutritious liquid produced and secreted from the mammary gland of a mammal. It is also used for food by human beings. Next, we have skimmed milk. Skimmed milk is a milk from which all fat and cream have been removed. Next, we have cheese. It is a solid food prepared from the pressed curd of milk. Next, we have yogurt. This is a dairy product made with fermented milk or curdled milk. Moving on, we have butter. Butter is an edible blend of pieces of fat made from churning milk or cream. Also, we have beef. Beef is meat gotten from an adult bovine. And lastly, we have udder. This can be compared to the breast in primates. It is a mammary gland of a female cattle, sheep, goats, and other mammals, which has 2 or more teeth. from which the young ones feed. And also milk is extracted from it for human consumption. Now we've come to the end of today's class, but before we go, let's take a quick summary of all we've learned so far. First, we've learned that animal husbandry is a branch of agriculture that deals with the rearing or breeding of farm or domestic animals like cattle, chickens, sheep, and horses that are raised for meat, milk, eggs, or other products. Also, we learned that words relating to animal husbandry include animal breeding, apiculture, aviculture, poultry farming, and so on. Lastly, we learnt that words associated with dairy farming are dairy farm, dairy cattle, milk, and so on. It's question time. Let's go on to answer some questions. Question 1. Aviculture is the dash of birds. A. Selling. B. Rearing. C. Drying. Or D. Milking. The correct answer is B. Rearing. Question 2. What differentiates dairy farming from other types of farming? A. It involves the rearing of birds for meat and egg. B. It has to do with breeding pigs for pork and sausage. C. It involves the raising of cows and sheep for milk and cheese. Or D. It involves nurturing snail for snail oil and snail shell. The correct answer is C. This is where we come to the end of today's class. I'm sure you have learned new words and added them to your vocabulary. Until we meet again in our next class, see you and bye.